It's the second weekend in November, 2023. Mitch Schwartz is here at Golf Liberty, and we're working on his swing. This time 4 years ago, Mitch was in Tennessee, doing what he does best, and on his way to a Super Bowl. His ring finger has gotten slightly heavier, and the passion for golf through the roof. Now, for someone who got into golf a little bit later in life, Mitch has a very high golf IQ. So right off the bat, we got into some pretty technical swing measurements. This DeWiz watch may need to come with a bigger wristband in the future, but we got it on there and had a look at some numbers. So this is the insane amount of stuff this will capture. I'll show you. So it'll make you a little kind of avatar guy. Tempo ratio. So how long does your backswing take? How long does your downswing take? Mm-hmm. Say you're fairly close. They tell you 3 to 1-ish is good. Yeah. Backswing plane, you are pretty much right in the middle. 80 plus is steep, 60 and minus is flat. You're 68. Backswing width is kind of interesting. So you get people that are a little collapsed at the top. You actually get people who are excessively this way. So backswing width between 16 and 24 inches is considered normal. You're right at 24. Yeah. And as you should be, because you have a little bit of an advantage with the size of the arms and how much wider of an arc you can make. But yes. But there's different patterns. So we'll mess around with a few things today. But so I'll notice the same thing. I'm very wide, but then that initial downswing number. All right. Okay, lady. Okay. And then my initial move is narrow. Yeah. So you get people that are narrow to wide casting. Yeah. You get people who are wide to narrow, fast, but hard to control. Okay. So there's ways to mess with all this kind of stuff.
Is that theoretically the constant radius thing you were doing with Scott?
It's like that.
He was trying to keep you.
He was basically trying to set. So he was technically the way and we'll mess around with some elbow stuff today because I know we were talking about that last night. He was basically getting me, probably would have been slightly less wide because I didn't really have any flex here in the elbow, and then he was basically trying to get me to stop. Yeah. Sending the elbow out. So it's kind of, that's also a steepening move. So if I'm here, so these are all ways you can mess with that. So, okay, there's if you were to get a little bit more, let's just call it literally just bend in the elbow earlier, it would give you a more vertical orientation of the forearm automatically. Right. And then you would basically just want to try to maintain that a little bit longer and not have it extend. So initial downswing direction. So you're basically someone who's letting the hands drop initially would be around 10, 11 degrees. Yours is 29. So it's moving, as you know, it's moving a little bit out that way. And then a steepening shallowing is actually the shaft angle itself. So the funny thing is the shaft shallowing number isn't actually that bad. You're only 1 degree of steepening. Really? I would say for you, most of what is happening in terms of what you see at the top of your swing, it's a little bit more of the actual motion of the hands and arms. The shaft isn't really doing that per se. It's kind of just fairly neutral, but the hands move this way. Interesting. This particular watch can actually be programmed to give someone a light electric shock when they're moving out of position. So anyway, I went up to the top, deliberately did something that it would buzz me for. It hurt like you wouldn't believe. It literally felt like a shock collar, like a dog collar. Jeez. That part of it, I'm not convinced yet. I don't know if electric shocking people is the best way to encourage motion, but it's interesting.
We've gone away from that as
society in general, yeah. Now on to another wrist sensor that does the angles of the wrists specifically. So when you address the ball, unless somebody's grip is totally it's always some extension. Right. You have to grip it extraordinarily weak to have no extension. Just push that. Someone whose grip is insane, this is plus 40. So this is pretty normal. Usually I see between 15 and 20. Let's capture a few. Just try to swing totally normal. Let's see what it does. If you had to guess, so you're plus 13 to address. If you had to guess what you were at the top, what would you guess?
I'd guess it'd be 30.
No, not that bad. Plus 20. Okay. And then from there, you bring it back down almost the same, plus 21. So you're slightly extended at the top, and then you're extended at impact as well. Cool, that's pretty similar. So let's try something just quickly. So you get set up. You're gonna have your eyes down here just for the the drill swing. You're not actually going to hit this one, obviously. So you're plus 17 there. Up to the top. Show me that to 0. Get that to 0 at the top of your swing. Good. Okay. And then slowly bring it down. Make that minus 10 in the downswing.
Well.
Yeah. Good. Good. Try to do what we just talked about. So show me a 0 at the top and a minus 10 at impact.
Okay.
You don't have to hit it very hard. Just like nice and smooth. It's pretty good.
Coachable.
Very coachable. Yeah, nice, buddy. Very good, actually. It's pretty much exactly kind of what I was wanting you to do. So minus 2 is basically just flat. I mean, in my opinion, no one needs to be, you have to think this to get flat. But no one really needs to like DJ it. That's
I
just
still
like.
don't believe those guys say that they don't know what's happening and they don't feel it.
I wouldn't listen to tour players' assessment of their golf swings. They're very good at executing. They're not good at explaining. That's why you have people that are pretty good at explaining. That's why they're coaches.
Right.
Not all that good at executing. So you're not any more into out than you were. So you were actually more into out before?
Yeah.
You're more like 5?
Yeah.
You
Is that
are
because I was at the end like doing that?
It's
so
that.
then it reads.
late shallow.
Right.
Late shallow plus flip. When the wrists are strong, you don't need to flip. The face is already.
See,
So
I always thought I tricked the machine a little bit, that I wasn't actually as into out.
Oh, you thought that? No,
Well,
you're
just because like I would save it
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
end and have that like.
Yeah, let's look. I'll show you on the high speed. First thing is like, you see what I mean about your distance to the ball?
Yeah.
You could definitely give yourself let's just say a tad more space. Now we know after measuring it that this angle here is around 15-ish to 20 degrees. So from here, this would not be an in to out path unless you do something about it. It's really just about from here. You can even see from the down the line. I'm just going to let that go down a little bit. If we could get this initial plane of the shaft to be slightly less steep, if the wrist conditions could get a little bit stronger, and then you would not really need to do this at the bottom. Okay, analysis over. Let's get to work. Slow. Come back to like hip high for me and stop. Okay, good. So as you take it up, feel like you're curling the right arm. First thing we're doing is getting the trail elbow to fold a little bit better so the club doesn't tend to steepen as much in transition. Nice. Now watch. You're too tall, so the club is in the darkness here. Normally I can see it. I can't even see the shaft. But let's find out where it is by this point. I mean, we don't need to, we can agree that's a lot less steep. So here's a side-by-side. One of the first swings of the day on the left, and then that last swing on the right. First thing you'll notice is we got a little bit more distance from the ball, much more comfortable. Club travels up to the top, a little bit shallower with the plane. The thing I really like is that the shaft here is kind of across the line, but now it's actually pointed more there. Initial plane of the shaft. So once your hands get to shoulder height, let's say, you're here. Once your hands get to shoulder height here.
Jeez.
That is some hardcore differences right there.
Yeah.
And your elbow is more in line with the spine angle. This is looking awfully good. We then did a little bit of work with the Watson hanger. Just a nice little training aid that's going to help Mitch feel when his wrist conditions are good and when he's maintaining them in the downswing. Yeah, but nice at the top. Very nice at the top. That's pretty good there. I think this would be a nice combination for you, would be some trail elbow awareness, let's call it.
Yeah.
And some, honestly, just some hanger work, basically. Because you're, as I said, with the hack motion, all that stuff, you're capable of doing it. I just think this really simplifies it for you. So Mitch has his swing drills to do, and we know what it's going to do to the club delivery. We got a more shaft lean, a less toe down orientation of the lie angle, and a natural in-to-out path. We'll check in with him over the course of the off-season, but the next time you see him, he'll be doing our total driving challenge.